What is up, winning team? Let's talk about the spirit of rejection and the spirit of abandonment. Okay, demons. We're talking again about the demons because I feel like these demons, I had a revelation about them earlier today, I guess. And I wanted to come on here and talk about it because I think these are some other demons that are running rampant in society in ways that we don't realize. And I think it's actually affecting everybody more than they think. So, all I'm doing here is I'm just sharing my thoughts. Like I say, guys, listen, I'm just a girl. Okay, I'm just a girl who has a relationship with the Lord. And if you want to find out if that's true, you'll have to get to know Him for yourself. That's the only way you're going to know. That's how that works. Well, let's talk about these two demons because you guys know I think if we were to see that if we were to see the spiritual world, I think we would look like we're immersed in a pool of demons. I think they're everywhere. I think they're in everyone, and I think they are just. I don't think like when people are like possessed. This is why I get annoyed. People are like possessed person in whatever shows their demon. I'm like, bro. Who are you to be talking about this person with their demon when you got all your demons? And they're all laughing while you're saying that, knowing that they're going to get to stay there because you're not even questioning if you have any. Because you think this is why I think Hollywood, by the way, intentionally does all these exorcism things as some like big, crazy thing. It's so that that's what you think in your head is what happens when somebody has a demon. Because you could be delivered from a demon and it could be as simple as you just releasing your breath. People have thrown up, people have all sorts of things. So it doesn't always come from some big spectacle, but obviously Hollywood wants you to think that because it's all about the deceit. But anyway, let's talk about this. I was just recording another video and I was going to go inside, but I decided since it's actually cold and I hate every single season except from winter. So I'm going to embrace, I'm actually too cold right now and I'm going to embrace it while I can because the seasons are about to change and I'm going to hate my life. I already do. But anyway, so the spirit of rejection and the spirit of abandonment. Now, I think that the thing about demons, is they can work in double ways. So if you possess a certain demon, so say a spirit of abandonment, if you have a spirit of abandonment and you could have got that because of being abandoned, like I say, every demon has to have a doorway in, and that door could come from you, and it could also come from others, and it also can come from generations above you, right? So that's why I believe that, because I'm like, do you mean to tell me every single generation up until now has been doing deliverance? No, they haven't been. We don't even believe in the Holy Spirit these days. So there's two ways it can work. Obviously, it enters into your life and then it controls you because then you think, oh, I don't ever want to be abandoned again. But then also, because it exists, it also physically deters people from you and causes people to abandon you. Same with rejection. If you've been rejected before and now you have a spirit of rejection, then you invite rejection now into your life where you wouldn't have had that spirit not been there, even though the reason why the rejections are happening now isn't for the same reason it happened before. And that's how these demons work. And this is something I think people don't realize, that demons work in double ways. And I'm talking about this because I think this is why people have such an obsession with keeping their communities and sweeping things under the carpet. That's where I'm going with this. I think that's why I think people have such an obsession with staying in their communities and not rocking the boat, trying to do the right thing, be societally correct, have to have their whole identity based on something like their gender or their race or their sexuality or their political party or their whatever it is, denomination. Because I think a lot of people, deep down, whether you realize it or not, fear losing things, fear being rejected, or fear being abandoned. And that's what it must be. That's what it really must be. Because I was thinking about it for myself. I feel like I experienced a fear of abandonment in an opposite way of I fear having to deal with the consequences of, this is how I started to get into thinking about this. I talked about this in my previous video. Right now, my biggest fear is I don't really want to try to do anything with anyone. And not because I'm actually afraid to lose them, I'm afraid to fail because I couldn't rely on the people who said they were going to do something to actually do it. As in, like, if we're going to work as a team in the body of Christ and we're saying we're making it to the promised land, or we're taking down the kingdom of darkness, I just am not convinced that there is literally anyone, and I do mean anyone, that can be trusted will actually see it through to the end. And I know I can't achieve it by myself, and that is the most depressing thing that I'm going through, and why I'm just constantly just, not interested, because it's like it's all fun and games in theory. We can all get on the stage and make a charismatic speech. We can all get started on day one and like say, yeah, we're going to do this. But when you have to actually start dealing with the backlash, like I said this about Martin Luther, once he was starting out and everything, the people were all rising up. It was all great. Yeah. But then now when the rich folks and the royals and stuff were starting to be like, bro, you're ruining our thing, because we kind of low-key need them to remain as peasants. Otherwise, how are we going to remain rich? And then he changes his message from, freedom both spiritually and physically to freedom just spiritually. That was over 500 years ago, and we're still living in that today. This is how seriously I take that. So I do feel like some of this information I know, I'm definitely myself dealing with that in that aspect, where I'm just like, I just don't trust anybody to be able to see it all the way through. And that is going to be because throughout my life, I've had a lot of opportunities where me in a group setting had an opportunity that could have blown up, and we just didn't have the ability to see it through. And that's why I'm obsessed with the Sidemen, because they've been working as a team, as a solid unit for 14 years, like reliably relying on each other. Because like I said, guys, I don't need people to hear about my problems. Things have moved on. I don't need, to have some kind of like validation for being whatever or acceptance. I just need people who can execute the damn freaking mission. That's all I'm asking for in this life, right? And I realize that the reason I struggle to find that is like we're on two sides of the same demon. This is what I'm saying. Is because people are so desperately clinging to things of this world that they don't want to lose, because they're fearful, of being rejected. They're fearful of being abandoned. Both things I've experienced a lot myself. And I realized a lot of times it's a blessing more than it's a blessing more than anything, because actually it shows you the real people in your life, but it's not comfortable. So I feel like this is why, as a society, we tolerate such a low level sense of life, where it's like, as long as I have my friends, as long as I have my family, as long as we're looked after, as long as I have this community or that community, then it doesn't matter what's happening outside. And it's actually backfiring on us, guys, because the problems that we tried to ignore are now on our doorsteps, as I predicted they would be. But I've realized that the simple fact is no one wants to rock the boat. You know what I mean? Like I said, you're something goes wrong in the family, a kid comes up to you and is like, Uncle so-and-so did this 2 weeks before Christmas. You don't really want to go and do anything about it, do you? You've already bought all the Christmas gifts. You've already wrapped it all. You already put the tree up. You don't want to rock the boat of Christmas dinner. You know what I mean? In the church, God forbid, one of the elders, like I've said, I know of an elder's son who was allegedly assaulting some of the girls. And again, we don't want to rock the boat. We don't want to talk about this. We don't want this to become a scandal. So then those girls ended up, and their families end up leaving the church altogether. People are really fearful of these things, you know what I mean? Or fearful of even trying. Like, this is why I feel like there's this need in society these days to have to get things right the first time. I deal with that in my job all the time. This is what the kids struggle with, is the idea that they're scared. Like, and I'm like, where does this come from? Excuse me, but they're literally like scared that if they don't tell me do the right thing the first time, that I'm gonna like punish them somehow. I'm like, try 20 times if you have to. Where does this come from? But then I realized this is just the environment we've created. Like, even if you think about social situations, there's the right way to do things and the wrong way to do things. I've told you guys, I can't be asked with all of that. I can't be asked. I don't know what's the right thing, wrong thing. Hold on. I don't know like what the right societal cues are, what the rules are, and I get caught out because I didn't know that if you do this, then that, and if you do that, then this. And people take things like that. That's why I say everybody's very weak and very fragile. As a society, even now, we can't even deal with our real problems within our own communities, because as soon as somebody wants to say something about a group you're a part of, you're on the defense. And that's because your whole identity is within that. Your whole life, your identity and everything is within that. So if that infrastructure comes breaking down, then you're going to be left with nothing and you don't want to be there. So it's like, no, we can't do this. We can't ruin this. We can't address our issues. And that's why I feel like these demons are working in a way that you probably wouldn't initially think, you know what I mean? Or you're just on the defense because you assume that everything bad that happens to you is a result of the fact that, oh, of course it's because of this that I've been rejected for this, or I've been abandoned by this. Like, I really do think that's how most people are living, like, to be honest with you, to some extent, because of just the way society is and how no one stands up for anything. No one stands up for literally anything at all. There's no faith element. There's no what's the word? Yeah, I guess it's just faith, isn't it? Because my way of looking at a lot of this stuff is like, well, if you have faith in God, you should trust him that whatever gets lost, like if he really is your everything. And that's how I know God isn't really people's everything. He's one of the top, maybe in your top 5. Hold on a minute. Like, maybe he's your acquaintance, but like he's not your everything. And so anyway, there's not really much for me to say there, but I was just thinking about it. Like, it's kind of making sense to me now, because I always wonder why everyone's so clinging on so hard to things and not wanting to deal with the real problems. But then I realized, oh, it's because people are fearful of losing what they have. People are fearful of losing what they have. People are feared of being abandoned. People are feared of being rejected. Because people care so much about community. Because this is one thing I've been thinking about, is I don't understand why everybody's so obsessed with like wanting to be in a community. And like when people say stuff like, oh, I moved into this new city and I haven't been able to make friends yet, it's like, who cares? Or like, oh, I've been praying to God for 2 years to send me a husband. It's like, who cares? It's like, who cares? Those are all great things, but like, is your whole life is not going to come to an end. Because then I feel like when you're in that position where God isn't your number one, and so you're so desperate for so many other things, then when you have those things become higher than God. Because that's my thing, is where it's like, well, God is number one, so I have God. And if God is saying right now it just needs to be me and him, then maybe it needs to be me and him. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I think a lot of poor friendships, poor relationships start, because people are just so desperate. Like this is what I noticed, like a lot of people, especially in dating, it's like the first person that's eligible in their top 10 things on their checklist, it's like, oh, you must be my wife or my husband. It's like, that's crazy. Or I've been guilty of this one. You get on with somebody because of one particular thing, and it's like, oh my gosh, I have friends now. It's like, maybe they're not your friend. I love this video this girl did, this Christian girl. It was really good. She was like, just because somebody's a Christian doesn't mean that you guys are automatically like destined to be friends. And I was like, thank you for saying that. And I think that that's another idea that people have. That people, the kids are playing in the background over there. I feel like people think that like, oh, Christian, yeah. So, and even that goes for Christians as well. Like, you meet Christians in general who are, hold on, let me see what's going on here. I'll go back. Yeah, it looks like, okay, all is well. Because I was like, I assumed they were playing, but then I was like, what if they're actually screaming about something wrong? Well, no, they weren't. They were just playing and just being kids. And I've decided to walk because I got sick of sitting. But yeah, like, I feel like everyone has such a desperation for connection, yeah? And I believe it's because you don't have a connection with God. Like, that's the thing. Because if you did, then your life wouldn't be driven by this need to like have somewhere to belong. People that are your, like, and I'm not saying those are bad things, like I said, but it's like, it's about the order of affairs. Because I think when God isn't number one in your life, then you immediately become toxic in your relationships. Immediately, because now you're trying to fill a God-sized void with humans. And humans shouldn't be under that amount of pressure. I think a lot of relationships put a lot of people under pressure, these days. And you have the people that, put in all the effort. This is why I think relationships are all in tatters these days. You have people that put everything into the relationship because they're like the ones who don't want to lose these people, so they're prepared to do whatever it takes and endure whatever they have to endure. That used to be me. Then you have the people who take and want to keep hold of that relationship because they don't want to lose what they're getting from it, where it's like, neither of those things should be happening in any healthy relationships, right? There should be the only time we have an unbalanced scenario is our relationship with God, in which case he's doing like most of the giving. And the only giving we give back is not very much. And that's why it also makes me sad how we really just don't be doing the work of the Lord, because like he's done so much for us and he's really not asking for very much in return at all. And we still don't even do that. Why? Because we're so busy trying to like cling to worldly things or like find this or like find that in this life, in this world, that we then where we're actually supposed to get it, we don't get it because we can't, because we're not gonna get it here. And that's the thing. Like, this is why I talk to you guys all the time. I always brag about how much I love to spend time with God above everything else, not because I'm trying to show off or look like holier than thou, but because I'm trying to show that it's doable, like, and it's real, and it's something that I just can't explain. Like, that's why I can literally hate it here and hate everything. But the simple facts of God and his existence, it's like, you know what, God, I can do this with you. And just the way that he is, he created us to have a relationship with him where he is the one who carries all the weight. That's why Jesus says, what's that? Oh my gosh, what's the scripture? The one where it's like, cast your burdens onto Jesus, right? We cast our burdens there. We're not supposed to be casting our burdens to the world. It's no wonder everybody's in therapy. Everybody's got to get diagnosed with this. Everybody's struggling with that. Everyone's addicted to this and all that. We're enslaved to all these different demons. It's because we're trying to literally find a solution. We're trying to find a solution to manage ourselves and to live freely, and put all of the pressure in a place like this world can't even handle. Only God can handle it. Only God can really truly handle everything. Like, this is why I'm like, even when people say to me about going to therapy, I'm like, what's a therapist going to do for me at this point? Most of them, their own lives are in tatters. What, I'm going to go and talk to somebody for 1 hour a week, or as whatever. It's just, I am who I am, and because that's how he created it. Like, he created it so that he carries the weight. Do you know what I mean? And of course he puts people in your life that also do their part, and that's the point. We're not supposed to do everything. We're all supposed to do our part, and we have to know what our part is. And that's the thing that I feel like we don't have and we don't focus on enough. It's just very take, because I've been thinking about that. I've been thinking to myself, like, people are very selfish, like, in this world. Very, very selfish. And I personally have experienced that from a few things, like, that people do, where it's just like, they're so ready to just we live in a world where everyone's just grab, take, whatever I can get, as long as I'm okay. It's always that, as long as I'm okay, or as long as me and the people I'm with are okay. And that's why we're always going to be in wars. We're always going to have slavery and everything, because someone's always going to get greedy and justify it as long as I'm my own. you know. The longer I've been caring more about just the world at large and like what's actually going to help the whole world. Hold on. And I realized it's like if we could somehow remove selfishness, which is ironic because what's the opposite of selfishness? Selflessness. And who is the epitome of selflessness itself? Jesus. Jesus Christ. Jesus. And that was the whole point, you know, that's the whole point. That's why we're so lost as believers, yeah? Those of us who are really believers. Because we're like, everybody's searching in this world, yeah, for things and has their ways of coping. But I just don't think the love here is that good. Can I be honest? Can I be so honest? I just don't think it's that good. Like, considering what I experienced with God and God's people, like his real people, I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's that good, you know. Even you guys here on my channel, yeah. I was thinking about this earlier and actually nearly started crying, thinking about how grateful I am that I actually found somewhere. I found some people who actually like appreciate me for who I am and don't expect me to be perfect all the time. That is so nice in this day and age. Like, I can't believe it. Like, I can't believe so many of you are still here with so much of the stuff I've said. It's because I'm so used to a world where there's just so many rules and, you know, people want to take all these things from you all the time. And if they're not really getting what they want exactly from you, exactly how they want it, then they're not interested. And so for me to come on here and you guys to listen to my videos, and obviously I'm hoping you're getting something out of them, but which is the point. But like, you know, I feel like in that way, it's a really nice actually relationship because, you know, you guys get to listen to as much or as little of what I'm saying as you'd like. I get to talk to people who just let me talk freely and don't make me feel like there's all these rules and regulations to the love I will receive. And it's really nice. What is on my face, guys? Yeah, I had a spot there. It's unfortunate. Anyway, but anyways, you guys get the gist. I don't know. It's just kind of sad. It's kind of sad. Because I don't mean this in a rude way, but I do kind of think it's kind of pathetic how desperate everybody is to like fit in and like have this and have that. And I'm like, the only reason for that, is because you're lacking in the one relationship we were supposed to have. Because that's what we lost in the garden. That's exactly what we lost in the garden. We chose our own knowledge and our own ways above a relationship with God. We chose to do things the devil's way instead of God's way. And now we're paying the consequences. I wonder if I can lie this way because it'd actually be nice to lie on the grass. Yeah, so now we're paying for it. We're paying for the fact we decided, we're going to do things our way. We don't want to engage in a relationship with you. You've done all of this for us, and guess what? It's not good enough. We still like this. I'm saying it's exactly what makes us different to God. Precisely. And it's exactly why he's the only answer to any of this. So anyways, guys, I wish I could take a nap right here on the grass. But that's just beyond wise. Or people will think I'm dead, and then there'll be a whole situation going on. So, it's just nice and cold and cool and cloudy, quiet. See, this is what I'm talking about. And this is all the world that God created. And these little flowers. Oh, that was a cute blade of grass. We used to make daisy chains. Did anybody else in the world used to make daisy chains? We used to make daisy chains at school with these. But yeah, anyways, guys, I'm gonna go because I'm starting to feel like it's a bit weird. And so, probably a sign I should go inside, right? Anyway, I hope you guys hear where my heart is coming from. And this is what I'm saying about these demons, that they're working like they're the hardest working team ever. Like really and truly getting us just to keep making the wrong decisions, enslaved to things and looking at every single answer except from God. When will we learn? Anyways, you guys, if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. And I'll see you in my next one.